James Bond. James Bond.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I drink your milkshake.
You can't handle the truth.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Movie Mafia Podcast. We're your hosts, Jake, Max, Lauren. Gabby's not here, unfortunately. She's going to miss this episode. But that's okay, because our episode is so jam-packed with some great information that, you know what? We will be able to survive Gabby's absence. But regardless, we are so excited to be here. We got so much to talk about, guys. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Doing good.
What do you got there, Lauren? You drinking coffee?
Had some water in a mug. Really
Water
classy
in a mug.
today.
Wow. You should have just said it was coffee.
How about an artisanal brew of kombucha with lavender?
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. Well,
Today.
well, that's a hell of a way to start off the show. And I do have to tell everybody the Back to the Future poster. I mean, come on, guys. Check this out. I mean, we started the podcast with nothing, a blank dry wall behind me. And now we got Cabin in the Woods, Dexter, Back to the Future up here. I mean, what else is coming? Yeah. I perfectly, I gotta lean back a little bit to get the perfect little spot here, but I've done my best to position it.
Yeah, looks good, dude.
There's no length I won't go to for the production quality of this podcast, all right? But
The green screen.
you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I do have to get the green screen. But that's about all I can do at this point. But with that being said, like I said at the top of the show here, we do have some movie news to get into. So one of the first things I wanted to touch on quick while it's all kind of fresh in our minds here is the Suicide Squad trailer. So the official release of the Suicide Squad movie is going to be August 6th, this upcoming summer. And we got our first look at the trailer. Obviously, this movie is going to be directed by James Gunn. He's the same guy who directed Guardians of the Galaxy. I believe, Max, he did both of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I think there's going to be a lot of comparisons. People are already making obvious comparisons in this trailer from, a character like Groot that he did in Guardians of the Galaxy, and obviously that was voiced by Vin Diesel, I believe. So, and now the kind of parallel to that is King Shark, and we have him voiced by Sylvester Stallone. So kind of two celebrity casts.
Looks like Shark from the Super Bowl that I'm thinking of. It's like him just like 3D modeled. And he's got like weird web fingers, his eyes are where his nostrils are where his eyes should be. He's kind of scary in a cute way. I think Groot is way cuter though.
That is true.
I don't think Sylvester Stallone Shark character is supposed to look cute. That's why I was like, your comparison, like he's biting people's heads off, he's ripping them apart. Like, I don't know. That's a weird comparison to make.
So then the question is the shark gonna get destroyed and come back as a baby shark?
Oh my God! If they do that, then I swear I'll have no respect left for James Gunn. You can't do the exact same thing, right? I almost lost all of the respect for him after Guardians 2. But yeah, so hoping for something different in this film. But yeah, from this trailer, it looks like we're in for that exactly. And I loved that the fact that this movie is going to be R-rated. We saw this shot of King Shark just splitting the guy in two. That looked incredible. Honestly, it reminded me of some of the crazy effects in the Venom movie that came out in October 2018. So for me, that it reminded me of some of like the gory violence and action, like eating someone whole and like similar to ripping them apart. So
except they're showing it to you. Venom does not show you the violence, which I'm very excited about this movie about.
That's true.
Okay, someone's into like blood core, violent core, just mass murdering. I see you.
Hey, if it's R, you got to go for it. You know what I mean? And it looks pretty cool, so I'm down for it.
Well, this is
and
coming.
You're excited for the beach of dicks, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You can't even censor me because it's about the content.
That is true. Yeah. You're right there. And you know what? This is coming from the guy, Max, who who is actually blows my mind, actually excited to watch Godzilla versus Kong. So
I
I'm
am.
not surprised. I'm not
Yeah.
surprised that blood, gore, and violence, and just I'm a force that just destroys and kills everything. I'm not
Yeah.
surprised that you're excited.
I'm
I gotta
excited that
say,
Godzilla vs Kong is PG-13 and probably won't have any violence. But
yeah, but
yeah,
like two rage monsters fighting each other.
yeah, it's fun. Why not?
Hmm. Sounds
I'm
sounds like
eating
a
a ball
good
of
way to.
popcorn in an IMAX movie theater this week, so
It sounds like a good way to blow $20.
I have
Is what
AMC
I.
A-list, so it's basically free for me to
That's
go.
true.
So
You
That's
I'm
should
true.
okay.
bring your own fake blood, and you can just start pouring it into the audience.
You know what? Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe.
get like a Nerf gun, fill it with fake blood instead of water. I feel like that's a great idea.
Jacob, don't you like Deadpool? Because Deadpool's the same thing.
Yeah, but Deadpool's funny and like interesting and has like a
Oh,
character development. Like he spends that all that first movie developing like him before the powers and he has cancer
no, it's
and his
extremely
suit looks
violent.
cool.
It's
Yes,
extremely
it
violent,
can
is
be.
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know. I do like stuff that's violent, but I think violence without plot is just
I mean, you
boring.
play Call of Duty, so you know more than most people.
That is true. I actually I have a love-hate relationship with Call of Duty, but
You say that, but you play it all the time, so.
don't expose me like this, Max.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm
what
supposed to
else
be the
can
host
you
of this
throw
podcast. Don't do
today?
this to me.
Yeah. No, I will.
Oh my gosh. But outside of the violence with King Shark and everything,
Yeah.
you touch a little bit on John Cena and how like him cursing, it just looks ridiculous. He just looks like he's gonna add this layer of comedy where you have someone like Idris Elba's Bloodshot, who seems to just be the overly intense and like super serious guy, and then
Yeah.
John Cena is just like to crack jokes and be stupid. And I think Pete Davidson kind of slides along with probably that similar sort of role.
Yeah, I agree. And John Cena already got his spin-off as Peacemaker that he's filming right now. So that character must be fantastic in this movie to already get a spin-off months before it comes out. So I'm excited to see Peacemaker in the movie.
Yeah, I'm definitely want to know whether that's more the people making this movie were like, "Oh my God, he's amazing in this. We got to get more of him." Or if that
Yeah.
was kind of one of John Cena's conditions to do this movie is that he wanted something, a little bit more personal too. Yeah,
It could have been the studio too. Cena's very like The Rock, where he's very, if he's doing something, people are gonna go and see it. So
true.
I think it's more the studio than it is John himself.
True, true. Well, I definitely am interested to wait and see what this movie turns out to be like, and I hope that he's really good because I thought he was spectacular in this trailer. But trailers can be deceiving.
Yeah.
For a case in point is the Suicide Squad trailer from the 2015-2016 trailers that we got for that movie, the original first, I should say, Suicide Squad movie. The
Yeah.
timeline for it seems to be kind of confusing. I'm not really sure what their whole plan is, but I thought that movie's trailer was fantastic, and then when the movie rolled around, obviously it was a dud and very poor.
Yeah.
So you felt you were catfished.
Basically.
It's gonna be different though this time. It's not like we'll talk about the possible Suicide Squad cut later, but it doesn't seem like the studio meddling into the movie as much as I think we've already been past that. So, and I do trust James Gunn, and this cast is pretty damn good. So, I think it's better than the first one cast wise. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I agree with that. 100%. I definitely agree with that. And Margot Robbie is back, which I couldn't be more excited about. I mean, she's just
Yep.
was the absolute only bright spot in that Suicide Squad movie, and then she was
Hmm.
fantastic in her Birds of Prey movie. That was basically just the Harley Quinn movie.
And this
So
felt like the best Harley Quinn in the trailer. I don't know why, but it just felt like this was Harley Quinn more than anything she's done before. Which, if James Gunn can pull that off, he'll have a lot more things to do in the DCEU if he can really pull off Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad, which is very tough to do.
yeah, and we've seen so much of Harley Quinn before, so they don't need to spend so much time developing her character anymore. She's
Yep.
developed. We know what to expect. She just has to go out there and be great. So I think that gives so much more room for Bloodshot and John Cena's character and Pete Davidson and King Shark and everyone to kind of find their own footing in this movie.
I'm also happy that Viola Davis is back. as Amanda Waller.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like that was like perfect casting of her being like a pseudo, villain, really. I really did like that she's back as well.
Yeah, and on that topic, I thought Rick Flag's Joel Kinnaman coming back for Rick Flag was another recasting, I should say, that I really liked. I actually
Yeah.
enjoyed for some of the scenes. I enjoyed him and I forget what her name was, but the girl who was possessed by Enchantress, and I like the
Yeah, Cara
concept.
Delevingne.
Right, yeah, I liked the concept of like, he's leading this group, and he also loves this girl who's possessed by Enchantress. And I don't think Enchantress was done very well, but I do think the
No.
concept and like the story, what they were going for, was something that could be expanded on it and could actually work quite well, if done correctly. But and I did like his character for the scenes that we saw him, and I'm excited to have him back. I do think he adds this good element of like he's one of the good guys alongside all of these bad good guys.
Yeah.
So I think it creates a good dynamic that a funny banter between Harley Quinn and Rick Flag and all the other characters, and I think
Yeah.
I think it works quite well.
I also wonder how they're going to explain, as you said, the timeline. Like, why is Deadshot not in this movie? Do you know what I mean? Will they even explain it, or just forget about that first film and just go right into this film? I'm very fascinated to see how Gunn pulls it off.
Yeah, I'm totally right there with you. When this movie was first announced, part of me thought it was just going to be its own new thing, similar to Joker or Batman. But then when they announced that Margot Robbie and Joel Kinnaman and Viola Davis are all coming back,
Courtney. Yeah.
and Jack Courtney, yeah. So it just makes it seem like, okay, they're going to talk about. I'd be shocked if they didn't mention the events of the previous Suicide Squad movie, or say something along the lines of like, oh, what happened to Deadshot? Oh, he escaped, or oh, he's dead, or oh, we let him go, he fulfilled his contract. Whatever, any of those options, or say something about anything that happened, or like, oh my God, we're doing this again. Like, or
Yep.
Viola Davis, Amanda Waller's character saying something to Harley Quinn like, if you do this one more time, then we'll let you go. This will shorten your sentence again. Referencing the fact that the events of Suicide Squad, the first one, already happened. Because I think at this point you're bringing too many characters back to just write off, the other movie. And also I do like Will Smith as Deadshot.
Me too.
And
Idris
I know he's not
Elba.
coming back for this movie, but I do want to see him in the future.
I'm really happy Idris Elba's in this. I'm a huge Idris Elba fan, and he's such a damn good actor. And I thought it was fun to see him even in Hobbs and Shaw, where he was playing a totally ridiculous villain that I thought worked because he was so over the top and having fun with the role. So I'm excited to see him because as this character too as well.
Yeah, and you know what? On that movie, it looks like we need to see Bloodshot versus versus Black Adam.
Yeah.
This is what we need
Yes.
to see because The Rock was the guy who was in the Rock and
Hobbs and Shaw.
yeah, and Hobbs and Shaw with Idris Elba, yeah, alongside what was the other guy's name? Oh my God,
Statham.
yeah, Jason Statham. Yes, yes. So a little callback or reference to that would be pretty funny.
Hilarious.
But yeah. So that was the Suicide Squad trailer. I mean, a lot of great moments. I definitely think we need more information, but
We
so
do.
far I think it's looking like a positive future.
Yeah, it's on
film.
HBO Max and it's in theaters, just like the other one. So I'm probably gonna see this one in theaters because it's a superhero film. But I'm excited. I really am excited. It feels different, completely different from the first film, like in look and tone. And the song choice for the trailer was also very funny. So I think James Gunn. Well, I'm not a huge fan of Guardians 2. He made a real special movie with the first Guardians. So I trust him to again take on another characters and make them really good because he has a huge cast. It's a lot to handle, but I think Gunn will have the right stuff to do to make this a good film.
Yeah, I definitely think his experience lends himself to that role 100%. Right, and moving on from Suicide Squad, though, we have more, kind of superhero news. So, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it continues. The post WandaVision Movie Mafia podcast is now the Winter Soldier podcast. So,
Yeah.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 2, we saw some of the funny references, like we said Sam called Bucky the White Panther, and
White Wolf.
and then Bucky corrected him as the White Wolf.
Yes.
Just like just a little bit of finally he has
So
a name
awesome.
that is not the Winter Soldier anymore, because he doesn't want to be called that since it's a negative connotation, and Bucky is kind of just
Yeah.
his actual name, in the way that you call Captain America Steve and Captain America. So it's nice to
Mhm.
have Bucky have a little name now. Um, also the frenemies sort of relationship between Sam and Bucky, I think is really interesting and kind of like one of the focal points of the show so far, where we saw them before and we know their chemistry off screen, kind of outside of the film, in different interviews they've given over the years, they've always had pretty good chemistry together, and on screen I thought they've always had good chemistry together. So I think that's one of the most anticipated things, one of the things I was most anticipated for in this show. And I think we're kind of seeing, how deep their chemistry can go from, like, they I think they work really well together as like a friends on screen. I also think they work well together as kind of like opposition. Um,
Yep.
and then, obviously we saw some other stuff too, like the new Captain America and
Yeah, John Walker. Yeah.
John Walker, yep. And then we saw a bunch of different stuff. I'll go on. I'll finish it out later, but I do want to hear your initial reactions to some of those things.
I thought this was fantastic. I thought this was a step above episode 1 in my opinion. Now that's not a slight on episode 1, but this had a lot going on that I thought was good. We were kind of talking about it last week, how we were like, we hope John Walker isn't like Hayward from WandaVision, where he's a stereotypical bad guy. They gave him a lot of depth in the show. Like his opening scene with him in the locker room, you're like, you know what? I kind of feel bad for him because they kind of just shoved him in the situation. But as the episode continues, like, he probably already has the super serum. He's just acting dumb the entire episode. He's being real jerks to Sam and Bucky. And he goes full on mean at the end of the episode. But it tackled race in a way that I really didn't know and the Disney or the MCU would go to. With the Isaiah Bradley character, who in the comic books is the Black Captain America. And it was sad. I don't know if you felt, I was very emotional during that scene with, like, when he was like, you know what, I was a hero. I did everything the government asked me for, but I was in prison and they kept taking the super serum out of my blood and all this stuff. And while Cap was being a hero, it really was because he was white compared to Isaiah Bradley. And I thought that was what they did an authentic, it's sad to say authentic, but the cop scene where Bucky and Sam are talking and the cops come and they're like, is this guy bothering you? Because obviously Sam is black, and then like, oh, you're actually Falcon, you're okay. It's a weird dynamic for Sam because he's takes a lot of pride in himself in being black, but also he now has a privilege of being the guy who helped save the world, so he doesn't have to face the same stuff as other black people do. I thought they really nailed the racial tones of the show.
And I think those two scenes you just described being back to back only, goes to further emphasize the importance and kind of like, the magnitude they had on this episode.
And before they walk into the house, there's a kid who's like, "You're the Black Falcon." He's like, "I'm just Falcon," and he's like, "Well, are you just a black kid?" And he's like, "Oh." The joke was also played for seriousness and a joke at the same time. Those are 3 consecutive scenes that I thought went very, very effective, very emotional, because it felt very real.
Absolutely, and I think scenes like that are what makes this episode, in my opinion, so much better than the first one. I mean, I thought the first one was all right, but I don't think it was amazing. And I thought this episode was a much higher step up for me.
And another part that I liked it was the Bucky Sam therapist scene, where Bucky finally opens up for the first time, maybe in the entire MCU, where he was like, because they were asking about, he's obviously pissed about Sam giving up the shield, but it felt very generic. Like, well, of course Bucky's pissed off. And then he's like, well, if you're going to give up the shield, then Steve must have been wrong about you, which means he must have been wrong about me. I thought that was extremely powerful dialogue from Bucky. And then Sam's like, you and Steve just don't know what it's like to be in my position of being like a black superhero and having that many responsibilities. And, the America we can see in the show, the United States does not want a black Captain America. They haven't wanted it for 100 years. and Sam's going through that debate in his mind too. But I thought that was also a very powerful scene.
Yeah, I think this episode has really laid the groundwork to see, more scenes like this, or how the impact of a black superhero on, the rest of this show. And I'm really interested to see, where they go from here. And
And
honestly,
Zemo.
yeah, and Zemo, and I did want to say, it feels like we're only 2 episodes through. How many episodes did you say are in the entire series?
There's 4 left.
4 more, so it's 6 total. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I mean, it seems kind of insane that we're only going to get 4 more episodes to wrap up all these storylines and introduce more. We don't even know that much about the flag smashers yet. And I'm definitely interested to see how everything goes. But yes, you touched on it quickly. Zemo, we saw Zemo for a little bit. That's going to be, if you guys don't remember, he was from the Captain America Civil War,
Yeah.
where he kind of divided. If you guys remember the movie, he kind of divided Iron Man and Captain America as they fought against each other, and
Yeah.
eventually he was the one who did a lot to break up the Avengers, which made them vulnerable when Thanos came to attack them. As well as, he's the one who showed Iron Man the video of Bucky when he was brainwashed as the Winter Soldier, killing Tony Stark's parents.
But also, while the Avengers were fighting in Age of Ultron, his family was killed in the wreckage of their fight with Ultron.
Yeah,
as
which
well.
is the inspiration for him to lead to the events of Civil War.
I'm pumped, and the idea of him being in the show makes sense because they need secrets. And also, I don't know if I feel the same way, but if you feel the same way, the Flag Smashers seem like pretty like, I don't know, like they're obviously not supposed to be like the villains of the show or anything, but when you actually think about their point about no borders, no, they're carrying around vaccines, they're trying to help save people's lives, give people resources. I mean, I get they're doing it in kind of extreme ways, and of course they have super soldier serum, but I don't know if you feel the same way. Like they have a pretty valid point of why people are catching on to them. Like people see them as heroes in the show. They explain this episode.
Yeah, going into this, I assumed that the evil force or entity was just going to be some Hydra equivalent of just some unequivocally bad, group of people. But the Flag Smashers are definitely more sympathetic and understanding, and they do a good job in the show of like kind of showing how like they're not perfect and they're not good necessarily, but they're not bad either.
They have a point.
And I think they do a really good job. And like the last time I saw something done that well, like a villain done that well, was Thanos, where like obviously he's bad, but like at the same time, like at the same time you kind of understand. It's much different than someone like Hydra, where they're evil, they're bad 100%. So
and I did respect giving John Walker a lot of the episode. Wyatt Russell's killing it as this character. Now, a lot of people are debating on social media if he actually has the super soldier serum already. I clearly think he does, because the way he uses the shield and how he fell off the truck and landed on a car and was just okay. Because they were kind of acting dumb the entire time about, are they really super soldiers? Like, are there still super soldiers out there? Again, I've been saying this since last week. They're clearly setting up Sam, obviously, and it feels like that they already gave John Walker and his buddy the super serum stuff, and this is all just a trap for our two heroes. Do you feel like he already has it, or actually with people who think he doesn't have the serum?
Yeah, I want to say he already has it, because when he was throwing the shield around, it looked so strange. It looked like there's no way someone could be that humanly, like naturally strong to manipulate Cap's shield like that. But at the same time, they had the dialogue where he was talking about like, oh, he's just one of the top 1% of people in the world, just like incredible body fat and like strength and etc. So I felt weird that they did so much to explain his strength as being natural, when in reality, it is not. It doesn't look at least. And also him fighting super soldiers. I mean, how could anyone be so strong that they could fight a super soldier?
He still got his butt kicked though. So did Bucky and Falcon. But I don't know if so. I felt very bad for him in the locker room. So I was like, this guy's probably a good dude. And then once he's shooting people as Captain America, and he's just him in the suit coming in, I felt so off. And he has a lot of cockiness to him that really, it really hit me too when he was like to Falcon, like, I really just want Captain America's wingman with me. And that's when Falcon left the truck. And it was like, that's not Steve and Sam's relationship at all. It was never like that. And the fact that he doesn't and when he was like, me and Steve were, brothers, he never met him, and how that really killed Bucky when he was watching on TV. Like, there's a lot of gut punches to our two heroes this episode.
Yeah, 100%. I totally am right there with you. And I think that scene you just mentioned with him asking for Captain America's wingman when he's talking to Sam is just another example of like the other scenes you were talking about earlier. Kind of compounding all of that together, and I think it just makes for a really well done episode. Um,
do you have any like I'm really pumped for the next 4 weeks.
Mhm.
Is there anything like, are you really enjoying the show? Like, are you really happy? Are you excited for the next 4 weeks?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for the episodes. I'm finding them interesting so far. Not as excited as I was for WandaVision, I have to admit, because WandaVision was more of a mystery, I think, for me. I personally felt like WandaVision started off slow, then got better each episode, and then when it got to like the final 2-3 episodes, I think it kind of plateaued and then started to slowly sink and then be done.
Okay.
So that was my impression of WandaVision. And right now, I'm still kind of working through what I think about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But my thoughts on episode 1, where Sam's character was boring and unrelatable to me, and then I thought Bucky's character was incredibly relatable and very interesting. And then now seeing episode 2, Sam's character as Falcon has gotten much more interesting and way more layered with depth that I didn't think that they were going to pull off. And I think Bucky has kind of remained the same. So I think both characters have elevated to a point where I was hoping that they would be here around the first episode or going into the series as a whole. But now I think both characters are at a really good place, and I think it's kind of on the future episodes, especially the next one, to do something with that.
Yeah, because they got to break Zemo out of prison, I think, because he can't bust himself out. So, and that's what I liked about the last scene, was where like Bucky and Sam were talking to John Walker, and he's like, when Sam was like, you guys are the government. You guys have restrictions. He's like, we both don't have restrictions. We're like free agents. We can basically do whatever we want. That's why they don't want to work with John Walker, which means obviously they're going to break Zemo out of prison, I think, to open up, which I'm very excited to see Bucky talking to Zemo, because Zemo really exposed the Winter Soldier. He made him the most wanted man on the planet. They had his, most wanted posters everywhere across the world. So I'm excited though.
Yeah, 100%. Me too. No doubt. Well, yeah. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how the Falcon and the Winter Soldier turns out in its future episodes. But for now, it definitely looks good, and I think there's definitely a lot of room for the show to be really good.
Yeah.
But I do want to segue into another topic real quick. We saw that Evan Peters was cast as Jeffrey Dahmer, the famous, one of the most famous serial killers of all time, in a new Netflix series. So, Max, I want to get your first impressions or reactions of Evan Peters, Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm going to throw up a couple pictures on screen for anybody watching here to see the comparison. So, what were your first impressions?
I think it's going to be interesting, because they did do a Dahmer movie with the guy from like Austin and Alley, I think is who the guy was who played him in a movie, and I heard it was like god awful. So I haven't seen Evan Peters actually outside of X-Men or now the MCU. So I'm interested, because he plays such a fun, comedic, lively character, and now to play such a dark, sadistic character could really help his career, show him how, his depth as an actor.
Yeah, for sure. Lauren, I did want to ask you too, what you thought about. Lauren, what did you think about this Evan Peters cast as Jeffrey Dahmer, and
I
that
love
casting?
Evan Peters. Like, American Horror Story, amazing. So like, and like him as Jeffrey Dahmer is like too good to be true. Like, because I really liked when they did who was it? Zac Efron, that was the other killer.
Yeah, Ted Bundy, right?
Yeah, because they make the murderer hot, and then it's more fun to watch.
Oh my gosh, that's not the point. That's not the point.
But I'm still learning about the
That's true.
murders.
That is true, though. That
My
is
roommate
true.
Katie loves serial killers. Here, do you want to talk about Evan Peters being cast as Dahmer?
Well, I mean, I think there's a pro and a con to it because on the one hand, it brings more awareness to the case because there's a celebrity playing this person, but on the other hand, it the awful side of it. So it's kind of like bittersweet, but yeah,
makes you root for the villain, anti-hero.
True, and that's why I like Dexter so much.
Exactly.
I'm not sure in Ted Bundy you were rooting for Ted Bundy to kill all those guys.
They're not the same. Dexter, it's like I feel like he's like an anti-hero. Like he's taking out villains in like the wrong way, but like he's productive, and I like his system. He's very organized. But yeah, I don't know. So I guess we need to have our real life serial killers take on more of an anti-hero persona. So here's a message to anyone who's thinking about becoming a serial killer.
Oh my
Try
gosh.
to keep it interesting, because eventually a celebrity will play you. So really just consider the plot line as you're doing yours.
Consider the plot line. That is the most important message we have for serial killers out there. Oh my gosh. What are we doing on this podcast? Oh my gosh. But I do have pictures on screen for me. And I do think it looks good. I think they're doing a decent job. I think Evan Peters, I know you said, Max, he's typically in a more comedic type of role, but I do think just on a one-to-one for appearance, I think they look very similar. So I think he can definitely pull that off. The look of him, in a sense. However, I do think there's a missed opportunity here. I can't recall the actor's name off the top of my head, but the guy who plays Sheldon in The Big Bang Theory, I feel like would have been perfect for Jeffrey Dahmer. But I do like this Evan Peters cast. And I'm definitely gonna be interested. I mean, Netflix typically makes pretty good shows, so I'm definitely gonna keep a close eye on this show, and 100% I'm gonna watch it as soon as it comes out. Yeah, I do think that the serial killer shows typically are, especially in documentary form, are definitely very interesting. And yeah, Netflix, like I said, does such a good job with their production quality. So I think we're in for a treat with this show.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I also wanted to I know you wanted to touch on this, Max, so I'll let you take the floor with this. But we saw Black Widow is now being moved from only in theaters to the Disney Plus for an extra fee. So, what do you kind of think of the change?
And more to that as well, Cruella being moved to May, and Luca, which is Pixar's next movie, just being put on Disney Plus with no extra charge, just like Soul, which I heard a lot of Pixar people are not happy about because they think that their movies also should be charged that much. But I think it's the right move because I think people compared to Raya and Mulan will actually spend the $30 to get Black Widow. It's an MCU movie. Everyone's gonna be talking about it the day of. There's post-credit scenes. There's spoilers. I'm gonna see it in the theaters though. I'm not gonna watch it on my. It's an MCU movie. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna watch that in a theater because it comes out in what now? July now? When is Black Widow coming out again?
Yeah, they moved it exactly a month from May 9th to July 9th.
July 9th. Yeah, so that I'm excited to see Cruella as well. We talked about that. So Disney and Luca is a movie that I'm very pumped for. Pixar is my favorite studio, so the fact that I can basically watch it for free if I have Disney Plus is great because I think Soul really helped. That Soul didn't make people pay $30 for it, and everyone watched Soul on Christmas, even more than Wonder Woman. So Pixar is keeping it going as well, but it's a pretty big move to the fact that Black Widow is actually going to a streaming service, like a superhero. It's more than just DC. The fact that the MCU is doing that, is it going to be a bust? Are people going to pay the $30 at home for Disney? And now it's going to be a totally different world in July for sure. A lot more people are going to get the vaccine. maybe, and sounds like based off of this Godzilla versus Kong, like $100 million movie overseas right now, which is ridiculous for normal times. The fact that maybe box office is coming back, so maybe more people are going to see in the theaters than even see it on Disney Plus. I think it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm been waiting for this Black Widow movie for it feels like forever, and push back
Yeah.
to July. You know, oh my gosh. Yeah, I guess I understand it, but at the same time, you know, they just need to release this movie already, and an extra $30 fee. Um, I mean, you can guarantee I'm not paying that. So I'm either seeing this movie in theaters with some friends, or I'll find my way around the $30 fee because I'm not paying that to see this movie that should have came out a year ago.
I am
But
pumped though. I am pumped for the movie.
I do want to see the movie, but they're kind of. I remember talking about this. Well, I just with this movie, like I just feel like I remember talking about this trailer or this movie like so long ago. I almost thought this movie came out and I just forgot. You know, like it's been so long. You know, I remember being excited for when Rachel
You
Weisz
might
was
want to
cast.
actually go into a coma to wait for the movie to come
You are
out. I'm
right.
like,
That's a good idea. I should go into a coma and I'll go in a 6 month coma, and by the time I'm out, this still will be delayed. You know,
yeah,
this movie's on my last nerve.
cryo. We'll put you in cryo, freeze you.
Yeah.
That's got to be like a health benefit. There's something good to that.
Well, you know what? If they delay this movie again, I might have to do that. I am excited to see it. I really do
We're not
honestly
going
want
to
to see it. But
They're not going to delay it again because now it's officially on Disney Plus, so they don't have to delay it anymore. It'll be on a streaming service if you can't go to a theater. So that
that's
movie's set. It's not being moved again. No way.
well, that it better not, honestly. And you know, I am really excited to see this movie, but I am also at this simultaneously on my last nerve with this movie keep getting pushed back. I mean, I want to see the movie already. Like, come on. You know, I know
Yeah.
it's done. I know the movie's ready. They could release it on Disney Plus tomorrow, but they don't because they want this. They want the money from theaters, which they're hoping by the summer, you know, more people are outside, more people want to have fun, and so they go to theaters, and hopefully the
And
theaters
we'll,
are back up.
and we'll talk about this next week because Godzilla versus Kong is making, I mean, fantastic numbers for the pandemic. I mean, it's making $70 million so far in the first week in China. That's like regular no pandemic numbers.
Wow.
And I wonder, this is kind of the first big blockbuster to come out during the pandemic that is available in theaters. Obviously, Wonder Woman really wasn't coming out in that many theaters because it came out in December when we were still thick in the pandemic. Now, because a lot of people are getting the vaccine, I wonder, and I think we should talk about this next week, the box office for Godzilla versus Kong. Is it strong in the United States? Because this is the first big blockbuster that I know it's the first time LA is open. So I'm going to go see it this week. So I wonder if a lot of people, I mean, I've already checked, a lot of my theaters are sold out for this movie. So I wonder how good box office wise this will do, which could also mean good things for movies in the next couple of months.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, alongside the Black Widow film, we have more. The superhero news just doesn't end on this podcast.
Never does.
But I wanted to quickly touch on some of the Snyder Cut news and some of the Warner Brothers news that we got. So you know, we saw the success of the Snyder Cut was pretty successful despite being 4 hours long and you know maybe not as marketed and promoted as you know other things would have been. It seemed like Warner Brothers was kind of didn't really care too much to market it. A lot of that fell onto the cast and Zack Snyder himself. But regardless, the movie seemed to do quite well and was met with pretty solid reviews and reactions, and definitely better than its original Justice League counterpart from 2017. So that kind of sparked this outrage and this controversy of you know the hashtag Restore the Snyderverse, and they want to bring back all the events from this movie, this Zack Snyder's Justice League, and make that canonized and completely delete everything from the original 2017 Justice League. And that kind of response alongside the success of the Snyder Cut also prompted fans to ask for the Ayer cut, which refers to director David Ayer, who did Suicide Squad, and that movie was famous for being a terrible movie, and it had a lot of Jared Leto's Joker scenes cut out of it. An astounding amount of Jared Leto's Joker was cut out of that movie. And obviously, Suicide Squad is not as important as Justice League to a lot of fans, so there isn't as much of an outcry to get a cut for that movie. But I think it was prompted because of some of the Zack Snyder Justice League success. So this caused the CEO for Warner Media Studios, Ann Sarnoff, to kind of come out and talk about how they will absolutely not be releasing any Ayer cut or moving forward with any more Zack Snyder Justice League films. So, we talked about how Zack Snyder has a kind of a plan, a little bit of an outline, some leaks that we saw for his roadmap for future Justice League movies, and we saw how they was set up in Zack Snyder's Justice League itself, how they set up a bunch of the future films. So, Ann Sarnoff kind of came out immediately and snipped any of that out. And oh, Lauren, your cat is so cute.
She's on mute.
I'm training him to be a podcast host.
Aw, aw, he's adorable. He's adorable. But
Thank you.
makes me miss my pets. But yeah. So I think all this Justice League, the Zack Snyder Ayer cut news is it's kind of sad that they're not going to be moving forward with anything. Some people still speculate that they will be because once upon a time they said they're not going to do any Snyder cut stuff, and then here we
Yeah.
are. So
That's how I feel.
There's a give and
Exactly
take.
how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. I feel like the amount of people that want to restore the Snyderverse, because his plan was a 5-movie plan, right? So it's only 2 more movies. I think they should let him do maybe 1 more, maybe do a Justice League 2, and see, because he definitely knew that it wasn't a possibility to bring his stuff back, because he threw like basically 6 post-credit scenes together, setting up stuff in the epilogue, because he just threw everything at the table, like, here's a Batman sequel plan, here's a Justice League 2 plan with Martian Manhunter, here's a Nightmare sequence and a possible Man of Steel sequel. Like, he threw a lot at the screen, and I don't really care about an Ayer cut. A Suicide Squad again isn't really something that I don't really care about rewatching again, because Justice League, it's Batman, it's Superman, it's the biggest superheroes in superhero history. Suicide Squad, we've seen a lot of these characters outside of the character, and we're also just getting a new Suicide Squad film. So I don't feel like we need to. It'll make this upcoming film too confusing, because maybe there's a lot of stuff that that doesn't have anything to do with the new one, and we're like, well, why didn't Gunn do this? Because it doesn't exist. So I hope that we don't see the Ayer cut, but I do actually want to see Snyder's universe continue a little bit. I'm not saying everything, but it should at least continue for 1 more Justice League 2 movie.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see what he has to offer with that as well. I'm pretty invested in the Zack Snyder Justice League cut itself, and I don't see the harm in making more. That the want is clearly there from fans, and
And the
I
actors.
definitely would want to see. Yeah, and actors as well, and I want to see. I spent 4 hours watching the film. I'm invested in this universe. I want to see its full potential, and it seems like Zack Snyder is probably the best equipped to do that right now.
Now, worst case, I don't want fans to be too aggressive, though, on social media, because we're going to get a Wonder Woman 3. We're going to get a Flashpoint movie. We're getting Aquaman 2. So you're good. These are not the last times you're going to see these characters. But it might be the last time you see Henry Cavill as Superman. It might be the last time you ever get to see Batman with Ben Affleck or Jeremy Irons as Alfred. A lot of these characters maybe you won't see again. Maybe that's why. I really want to see Henry Cavill get a Man of Steel too. I think he's deserved it. The character, I think, Batman v Superman just isn't a sequel, and a really not a good sequel to Man of Steel. And he deserves his own movie without another big hero in it. But that's what I want more than anything, is a Man of Steel 2. But the fact that they're developing another Superman movie that probably isn't Henry Cavill means that they're totally moving off of Snyder stuff.
Yeah, I agree. But we'll have to wait and see how everything turns out, of course. And before we wrap up the show here, I do want to quickly touch on two small topics, and then I have something I got to do, so I do have to jump out of here. But the two topics I wanted to quickly touch on are we got a little bit of news for the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series on Disney
Yeah.
Plus. We've known for a while this was coming. We knew that Ewan McGregor was confirmed and Hayden Christensen are confirmed, but we have the full cast laid out now and officially announced that production for the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series will begin next month in April. So we're right around the corner from that, and that'll probably be maybe a year and a half turnaround. So hopefully
Yeah.
this time next year, summertime next year, we'll see the show out. Like I said before, it's going to be a Disney Plus show, so I'm incredibly excited to see what we got. What the show's going to turn out to be. I mean, like I said, Ewan
Yeah.
McGregor will be coming back as Obi-Wan Kenobi, reprising his role from the prequel movies. Same with Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader.
And Joel Edgerton.
Yep. And I think other notable casts we saw. I don't want to butcher everyone's name here, but we saw the famous comedian.
Yeah.
Do you know how to pronounce his name? Kumail
Kumail
Nanjiani.
Nanjiani.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. I didn't want to butcher his name there, but I've seen him in plenty of other movies before, and I'm really going to be interested in see what his role is in this film or this TV show, I should say, as well. Also, a little bit under the radar, we got it confirmed that the actors who played Luke's adoptive parents are going are
Yeah,
going to be
Joel
coming
Edgerton.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, Joel Edgerton, but both the husband and the wife are both going to be coming back. I feel like
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people forgot about the two characters that were Luke's
Owen
adoptive
and Baru.
parents. Yep.
Yeah,
So
I have to step in here. Sorry, because
go ahead.
I'm a Star Wars aficionado more than superhero. I mean, it's my stuff, and Obi-Wan is my favorite Star Wars character, and Ewan McGregor is my favorite Star Wars performance. And the fact that we're getting Vader in the show. I mean, here's the thing: Disney Plus for me is 2 for 2. The last season of Clone Wars was fantastic, especially those last 4 episodes, and the 2 seasons of The Mandalorian are fantastic. So I'm here for Star Wars television more than I am movies right now, because I would rather watch this is like a 6-hour movie, really, and I'm all for that. And the fact that Deborah Chow is the showrunner who did the 2 best episodes of season 1 of The Mandalorian is so exciting. We have a female showrunner, a female director running a Star Wars show is also really great to see. And I just want more Star Wars. I know we're getting Boba Fett in December, but Obi-Wan's my most anticipated Star Wars project in years.
Absolutely. And then I kind of wanted to finish up the show real quick here by touching on the fact that Lucifer, we finally have some more news on Lucifer. So, yep. So, Lucifer, it's going to be, it's in its final season. Yup, it's in its final season, season 5. We got part A, part 1 of season 5 this past summer, and part B or part 2 is going to be coming officially on May 28th is when
And
the
that's
part
pretty
B.
soon, kind of.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. Right around the corner, about 2 months from now. And we got official news that Lucifer is doing its last day of filming today. So this is the last day of filming on set. All the actors are never going to film another scene for Lucifer again. The show's not going to come back. They're officially wrapping it all up. They're ending it. There's no more chances for it to get revived. Even the showrunners, all the actors involved have said they don't want the fans to bring the show back again. They want to wrap this up here, and they want it to be done and left where it's at. So it's sad, but also really exciting. I'm a huge fan of Lucifer, so I absolutely cannot wait for May 28th when the second part of season 5 finally releases, and then we have some closure for the series as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that being said, is there anything else you wanted to add, Max, before I wrap up the show?
Just that next week's will be a pretty big show. I don't know if everyone else is going to see it, but I'm definitely going to be in the theater watching Godzilla vs. Kong and reviewing that next week, and let you guys know the box office for that. We'll also be doing a spoiler review of episode 3 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And also, before we go, by the way, just a quick check here. On YouTube, please like the video if you're currently watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the Movie Mafia podcast. Not sure how much long. Semester's almost over. So just stay tuned. That's why you got to ring the bell so you're notified when more podcasts drop. On Twitch, hit the follow. If you're on podcast, give on Spotify or Apple, whatever you find the podcast. Just give us a rating, give us a comment, so more people, and share this podcast with everyone you know. If they're big movie people, this is the podcast for them. So definitely check it out.
Absolutely. Well, you're right. And with that being said, we're going to wrap up the episode here. So I do appreciate everybody tuning in, watching us, whether you're live on Twitch right now, twitch.tv/themoviemafia, or you're watching this pre-recorded on YouTube or Spotify. We do appreciate you guys so much. And we will be back same time again, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on next Monday. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you definitely got to follow us on Twitter at The Movie Mafia TU. All right, thank you guys for watching. We will see you next episode. Peace.